It's Monday, March 31. In the headlines, Foreign Affairs Minister Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith clarifies reason for U.S. Secretary of State visit. Jamaicans uneasy when visiting financial institutions. In business news, central bank maintains interest rates. Regionally, Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Mottley asks U.S. President to exempt CARICOM from new levy. And in sports, Grand Slam Track announces a partnership with the Jamaica Tourist Board. Also, World Boxing President arrives for a 5-day working visit. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. There is a growing sense of unease when it comes to visiting financial institutions and using ATMs. That's the information coming from the 2023 Jamaica National Crime Victimization Survey, released by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, STATIN. The survey revealed a significant decline in public confidence regarding safety in financial institutions and public spaces when compared to 2019. While 9 out of 10 respondents stated they feel safe in their homes and frequent locations like churches, schools, workplaces, and their personal vehicles, their sense of security drops in unfamiliar settings. The survey found that only 68.6% of respondents felt safe at banks, down from 80.9% in 2019. And just 47.2% felt secure using ATMs, a decrease from 56.3% in previous surveys. Perceptions of safety at bars also showed a decline, dropping from 70.2% in 2019 to 62.8% in 2023. The Crime Victimization Survey, which is conducted every 3 years, assesses the impact of crime on individuals and communities. It provides valuable data-driven insights into crime trends across Jamaica and their effect on residents. Between November 2023 and February 2024, STATIN surveyed 3,294 Jamaicans aged 16 and older, focusing on their experiences with crime from November 2020 to October 2023. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, has made it clear that Jamaica did not offer any concessions to the United States in exchange for the range of assistance measures announced by U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio during his recent visit. Rubio pledged to review the travel advisories against Jamaica, provide security assistance, and support skills training initiatives. And when asked what Jamaica gave up in return, the foreign minister shared this response.
I would respond that we give up nothing. What they have seen is the result of strong diplomacy, strong diplomatic engagement, clear and trustworthy engagement on issues, both difficult and easy. We don't necessarily agree on absolutely everything. We have difficult conversations, but we have always been respectful of each other's perspectives and each other's views. And the manner in which we engage is always positive, and that is respected.
Minister Johnson-Smith is defending her approach after facing a criticism for not responding to the Trump administration's visa restriction threat over the Cuban doctors program. She insists Jamaica's foreign policy will remain steady and carefully managed.
Quite frankly, I prefer to be criticized for being silent on an issue and getting a good result from my country than to share information prematurely or try to, sort of beat my chest across the radio waves on an issue, rather than to pursue quiet diplomacy, reasoned conversations, and consistent engagement at different levels as are necessary to get results.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has since clarified that the concerns are about forced labor in other parts of the world. Jamaica's tourism industry generates significant foreign exchange, contributing to GDP and creating jobs, with the industry earning more than $4.3 billion in 2024. Despite cyclical disruptions such as natural disasters and the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, Jamaica's resilient tourism industry continues to be one of the main drivers of the country's long-term economic development. This was made possible with the establishment of the Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center, among other things. We take a look at how it was implemented in this JIS feature.
The management of tourism takes into account upfront the shocks that could happen that could dislodge and dislocate the industry over a long period of time.
Resilience building and crisis management within the tourism sector is paramount, but even more so for countries like Jamaica, where much of our foreign income is dependent on this area. The fear of the COVID-19 virus is largely behind us, but we should never forget the stipulations it brought or the domino effects. It means that going forward, measures must be put in place to manage events such as these that threaten the sector. That is what the Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center is about, helping tourism stakeholders worldwide to prepare for, manage, and recover from crises that affect the sector. And the annual Global Tourism Conference put on by the Center brings together stakeholders to have this conversation.
When we all come together jointly as a group, we can come up with better ideas, better coordination, and a more seamless execution of strategies to ensure that the industry can withstand shocks.
Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett, the man behind the mission, has been championing the cause of mitigating against vulnerabilities to help strengthen the sector.
We must harness innovation, champion sustainability, and foster collaboration across all sectors to ensure that the next crisis, whatever form it takes, does not cripple our progress, but rather spurs our creativity and resolve.
At the 2025 Global Tourism Resilience Conference, the theme was Building Tourism Resilience Through Digital Transformation, bolstering conversations to this effect.
In the past few years, the quest to build resilience, digital technology and its allies, artificial intelligence, for example, and data analytics, have become part of the reservoir of knowledge and information that the Center has embraced and is enabling the development of toolkits and different forms of action that can enable those 5 touch points.
Touch points being developed by the Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center in the form of real-time data analytics to be able to monitor travel flows, consumer trends, and potential risks, and virtual engagements and marketing to offer immersive experiences that can keep destinations atop the mind, even during travel pauses.
And I give you an example. During COVID, we were able to have a virtual mass wedding at Laughing Waters in Ocho Rios, where I was the master of ceremony, and there was a minister, and we actually married 140 couples across the world and said to them, when COVID is over, come to Jamaica for your honeymoon.
Also involved is smart destination management, enhancing visitor experiences through digital ticketing, crowd management, and personalized itineraries that promote sustainability and authenticity. Crisis communication too, facilitating swift and clear communication with stakeholders, travelers, and local communities in times of crisis.
By weaving these digital tools into tourism strategies, we can foresee disruptions, respond effectively to crises, and ensure the continuity of this vital sector.
And it is going to take all hands on deck to make it happen.
We invite each and everyone from across the world to embrace the essence of tourism resilience, not just as a means of being able to track, mitigate, manage, recover, and thrive after disruptions, but as a means of ensuring sustainable development and growth.
The notion of resilience for us, it's not just one of the sexy catchphrases that from time to time gets introduced into our vocabulary. Resilience is an important, very important way of life, mindset of the government.
Time now for the Business Report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, here to bring you the stories shaping the financial world and guiding your journey to smarter business decisions. Let's dive into the top headlines. The Bank of Jamaica's Monetary Policy Committee has voted to maintain the policy rate at 6% per annum, signaling confidence in Jamaica's inflation outlook. At its March 25-26 meeting, the committee also decided to lower the interest rate on its standing liquidity facility from 8% to 7% effective March 28. This move will reduce borrowing costs for commercial banks, ensuring greater stability in short-term market interest rates. Core inflation, which excludes food and fuel prices, stood at 3.8%, marking its 20th consecutive month below 6%. The BOJ attributes this stability to a steady exchange rate, surplus on external accounts, moderated private sector wage pressures, and lower imported inflation. Finance Minister Fayval Williams announced that microinsurance legislation will be passed in the upcoming fiscal year, which starts April 1, 2025, for fiscal year 2025-26 in Parliament on Tuesday, March 11, 2025. Introducing microinsurance legislation could make it easier for, in the words of the minister, those who are unable to access traditional insurance because they cannot afford the premiums. The finance minister added that the legislation can catalyze the introduction of various microfinance products, such as theft insurance, fire insurance, health insurance, term life insurance, death insurance, disability insurance, and insurance for natural disasters. Realtor Vinton Thomas explains that the rise in mortgage costs has created increased rental rates in the corporate area. This has allowed unscrupulous persons to take images from licensed realtors' website and post on social media at rental rates that are 1/3 the market rate. We learn more. Now, one of the challenges that's been happening is that the push for affordable rental housing in the corporate area has opened the door for scammers. And to tell us more about what's been happening in the rental side of the real estate industry, we have with us Realtor Vinton Thomas. Vinton, boy, why are the scammers so aggressive right now?
Boy. I don't know what is happening. Everybody's pushing for easy money.
Yes.
right, in the wrong direction.
Yes.
Right? What is, I mean, that we are left as realtors, we are exposed to so many different things, and we are exposed to the fact that we, as realtor, put pictures out there.
You put pictures out there,
of the properties. And so what these cameras are doing basically is taking the pictures that we put out there, post on a different network, and use attractive rates to capture their clients.
So they're stealing the photos from the real estate website.
Yes.
And putting it on their, say, for example, Instagram.
Yes.
But what is attractive?
And luring persons, for example, if you see a property, a fully furnished property in a very good community, renting for ridiculous prices, that should send a red flag.
Well, what's a ridiculous price?
Okay. Say a property, just recently, there was a 1-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom, right, fully furnished house in a gated community in Kingston that was being offered for $45,000 per month. The person went, called the person, and they said, well, before you can move in, you actually have to pay $90,000. The person went away and paid the $90,000. Only to find out it's a scam. At that point, the person called and said, Mr. Thomas, I said, listen to me, if it sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. What is also happening and what is fluid in the scammers is that person's expectations are way up here and the money they're willing to pay is way down here. So you want to move into a $200,000 apartment, but you want to pay $50,000. You want to pay $30,000, you want to pay $40,000, right? These properties are very, very expensive and the mortgages are extremely high. Matter of fact, 90% of the mortgages, the new mortgages, cannot rent the property to cover.
90% of the
or
new
more
properties, the mortgage cannot be covered by the rent.
Cannot be covered by the rent.
Wow. So why am I buying that? Well, that's for another topic. But
yeah, but wow. What does that mean? That right, there are properties now that on the market, the mortgage is $315,000 per month.
Right.
The property can barely rent for $250,000.
Wow. Wow. This looks like we're going to have to do an in-depth investigation with you, Mr. Thomas.
Right.
Thank you so much for the
My
business
pleasure
report.
for being here.
For the trading period ending March 28, 2025, these were the most actively traded stocks. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited with 104,060,443 units traded, representing 46.52% of market sales volume. Caribbean financial conglomerate JMMB Group Limited 10% variable rate Jamaican dollar preference shares with 50,872,645 units traded, representing 22.74% of market sales volume. Financial house Barita Investments Limited with 50,008,464 units traded, representing 22.36% of market sales volume. We now shift our focus to the Forex market rates set by the Bank of Jamaica. On March 28, 2025, the Bank of Jamaica reported US 52.09 million purchased and 53.60 million US dollars sold by Forex traders. Forex traders earned $1.97 per dollar, selling the US at $158.44 and buying the US at $156.47. The Canadian dollar netted Forex traders $7.46 per transaction, with selling at $113.07 and buying at $105.61. The British pound yielded Forex traders $8.28 in profit, with selling at $206.39 and buying at $198.11. For our credit report tip of the day, rebuilding your credit after a personal setback can feel like an uphill battle, but you don't have to do it alone. Your bank can be a valuable partner in your financial recovery if you know how to build the right relationships. Schedule a meeting with a personal banker. This can help you set financial goals, understand bank policies, and guide you to credit building opportunities. Also, work with a small business banker. If you're an entrepreneur, a small business banker can help separate your personal and business credit, improving both over time. And that wraps up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, reminding you that every financial decision is a step toward your future. Until next time, stay focused, stay informed, and keep striving for success. See you soon.
In regional news, Barbados' Prime Minister and CARICOM Chair, Mia Mottley, is pushing back against the U.S. levy on Chinese ships, fearing its economic fallout on the region. She's written to President Donald Trump urging an exemption for CARICOM. Prime Minister Mottley also raised the issue with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio during talks in Jamaica. She revealed the move while speaking at the launch of a new Quartz superstore, expressing hope for a positive response.
Florida, in a very real sense, is the engine of commerce of the Caribbean region. Caribbean depends on much 7-day supply of food, 7-day supply of vegetables, of critical supplies, of pieces of equipment, spare parts, all kinds of things. And that to have this disrupted purely because of the intervention of a statutory or an executive order that will lead to increased costs of supply will hurt not just us on the receiving end, but will hurt those as well who are making money from the logistics in Florida to be able to make the transition. Because the cost per container, TEU, 20-foot container or equivalent, can go, we believe, anywhere between $1,500 to $2,000 US, and for 40-foot container up to at least $4,000 US. It is also, by the way, assessed on exports. And those who are exporting from our region will now have to face the reality of having to pay more before, or their customers who are buying from them having to pay more purely because of this particular cess and not because of any costs related to production or indeed to being able to source the raw materials for it. I hope that we will resolve it.
Prime Minister Gaston Brown has made a special appeal to Antiguans and Barbudans of African descent to seize investment opportunities in the economy or risk being left behind when others do. The head of government was addressing a round table hosted by the Antigua and Barbuda Chamber of Commerce. Jamie J. Rocha reports.
Prime Minister Gaston Brown says too many Antiguans and Barbudans are keeping their money parked in banks instead of using it to grow the economy. And while he's not pointing fingers, he says one group in particular needs to take action.
I'm embracing of all, irrespective of color, creed, class, but there is this knee-jerk reaction in which there are some of my ethnicity who will do nothing. They sit on their money, and then when others of other ethnicity seize these opportunities, they cry foul and say that we gave them priority. And I want to reassure you that is not the case.
Speaking at a Chamber of Commerce Roundtable Thursday, the Prime Minister highlights the brand new government-backed Airbnb development at Shell Beach as a key investment choice.
In fact, Shell Beach, we should start to clear the land within a matter of days. And I believe we have over 40 acres that will make available to Antiguans and Barbudans to invest in Airbnb properties. Now, Airbnb properties are very popular globally, and it's a great opportunity to empower the locals so that they too can participate in the lucrative hospitality sector.
In sports, we're out the blocks with athletics. Grand Slam Track has announced a major partnership with the Jamaica Tourist Board to bring its inaugural event to Kingston this spring. Founded by 4-time Olympic champion Michael Johnson, the premier global professional track league aims to redefine a track competition globally. And what better place to kick things off than in Jamaica, a country renowned for its sprinting prowess. The Grand Slam event will take place on April 4 to 6 at the National Stadium, showcasing the world's fastest athletes, including Olympic stars Sydney McLaughlin-Levan and Gabby Thomas. These elite competitors will go head-to-head for a groundbreaking prize money pool, more than $9 million, the largest ever in the sport. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett expressed excitement about hosting this significant event, emphasizing that it continues Jamaica's season of excitement, celebrating the country's culture and sport, namely the ISA Boys and Girls Championships and the vibrant Carnival in Jamaica later in April. The event promises not just competition, but an immersive cultural experience in the heart of Kingston. For more information about the event and to get your tickets, visit grandslamtrack.com or follow at grandslamtrack on social media. Staying with athletics, Kingston College and Hydel High are still riding high following their respective wins in the ISA Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Athletics Championships at the National Stadium last weekend. KC racked up 293 points to outclass Calabar High, who amassed 229 points. The North Street Boys capped off their centenary celebrations with win number 36 of the Mortimer Geddes Trophy. On the girls' side, Hydel High won their second girls' championships in 3 years with a nail-biting win over close rivals Edwin Allen. At the end of the championships, only 11 points separated the two schools, Hydel with 277 and Edwin Allen with 266. President of World Boxing Boris van der Voist is in Jamaica for a 5-day working visit. He arrived at Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay on Saturday night, and he is here to assess Jamaica's boxing scene and explore ways the global body can help elevate the sport locally, regionally, and internationally. His visit will wrap up on Wednesday, April 2. Van der Voist expressed optimism about the growth of Jamaican boxing and the potential for the emergence of new world champions.
And that's also why I'm here to discuss the collaboration and how we can move forward. And after the recognition and re-inclusion for boxing in the LA program, I think that offers great opportunities for Jamaican boxing.
The World Boxing President also commended President of Jamaica's local body for his significant support of the organization and the sport overall. He also welcomed the recent announcement by the International Olympic Committee that boxing will return to the Olympic Games in 2028, taking place in Los Angeles. President of the Jamaica Boxing Association, Stephen Bomber Jones, highlighted the importance of his visit.
We're very, very excited, very, very encouraged, and excited about not just his visit here, but what it means for the Caribbean and what it means for boxing in general, that it's now been official that it's going to be in the 2028 Olympics, as the fact of the matter that boxing is one of the oldest disciplines that have been a part of the Olympic Games. So Boris, being the president, has galvanized a lot of the countries to form the International Federation that's recognized by the IOC, and making one of his first visits since then to the Caribbean is huge for us.
Mr. Jones adds that Van der Voist will have the opportunity to see boxing at the grassroots level in Montego Bay and Kingston.
What he can see from the grassroots level, we want to show him that the most novice boxer or programs, some of our gyms, and the fact that high school boxing is high on the list of the Boxing Association on our board and growing, the quickest growing area in the sport. We want to make sure that he goes and sees one of the schools and see the schools that have been competing in our monthly programs, the Futures program, and just to meet with the people that make things happen here, meet with the president of the Jamaica Olympic Association, meet with the Minister of Sport, meet with the boxing fraternity themselves, and just get to see our country, the beauty of our country, and the people as a part of it as well.
The visit marks a significant step in strengthening Jamaica's role in the global boxing landscape and underscores the potential for further development of the sport in the region. And that's it for the news on PBCJ. Pleasant viewing.